Hi guys. So, I just recorded an entire story of the first half of the server story, and the sound broke. Which means that I lost everything that I just did. I mean, I'll still have Alfredo in the second part, but I won't be able to have him in the first part, because he can't do it again tonight, and his reaction will be different. Which means that I have to do the first part again now. So, sit back, relax, put your phone down. Well, actually, don't put your phone down. I mean, like, put your phone down propped up somewhere so you can just hear me and not watch. You don't have to watch. Let's get started. This is going to be raw footage because it's going to be like an audiobook because there's no way I'm editing this. It's a whole story. It's a long story. And I'm only going to be able to tell part 1 because part 2. So that means to the end of the first summer club. Because I'm only going to be able to tell that once. Part 2 will be recorded with Alfredo later. But let's get started. Let's journey back in time, at least 3 years back to my freshman year. It's 2017, and fall is starting. That's right. We're going that back. And we're starting. Well, this is way before Mevacraft, so let's start. Okay. Sit back, relax, just listen. It's the fall of 2017, and I am starting my school courses. It's my first time of high school online. Most of the time I had already done it at a private school for a while. But after that, there was a few clubs. One of them was a Minecraft club run by Mrs. Perry. I know. She actually really liked that name too because she would always joke about that Perry the Platypus stuff, because I'm not kidding. Her actual name was the same spelling as Perry. Anyways, so she ran a small, tiny server. It was brand new to K-12. K-12 was just testing it out. And she was running a small server. She would have it on for about an hour. Everyone would build, and it would be nice. We had a Bedrock server too, but that never actually went anywhere. So this will not be about the Bedrock servers. I joined it like one time. The Bedrock servers never went anywhere, and eventually were just disappeared about a summer later. Anyways, let's get into the story. We're skipping all the way to the spring of 2018. Well, around actually April, so actually around this time, 2 or 3 years ago. It is 2018. I am finishing up everything I can, and the gaming club is the National Minecraft Club is starting to wind down. Perry's server just kind of disappeared, and there was a slide. On the slide, it said, "Help wanted. Email Mrs. Clausman." She had a server, and it was me and this other guy named Dino. And, of course, I'm Bandit. I'm Scruffy Bandit, but I've always been known as that. That was my username forever. It's named after my 2 first dogs, Scruffy and Bandit, who passed away sadly a while ago. Anyways, back to I keep getting off track. Anyways, to the first server. The first server was a weird one. It lasted for about 2 months, until about Memorial Day weekend, which is funny. It's just ironic. And we started this server with high hopes. I joined in. There was 2 people talking. The spawn looked like it was hit by something, like a tornado or something. There was craters everywhere. Parts of the buildings were burned. And about a week later, because I couldn't join it every time, I was busy with work, with schoolwork. And about a week later, I had joined again, and the entire spawn area just turned, and I was emailing Ms. Clausman the entire time during this thing. And that server just became this ginormous, and I'm talking ginormous crater. And me, being curious, I talked to one of the residents who was there, who joined our thing we called the cleanup team. Let's rebuild the server team. And it was made up of this guy named Greg Montano. That was his username. Silver Fox and Paris. Paris Girl. AKA Silver and Paris. They're a brother and sister duo, and they're amazing. And then we had another guy named Whiplash, who was really cool as well, but I wasn't able to ever see him again after this. Sadly, he always had a FNAF skin on, and even though I don't like FNAF, I kind of like this guy a lot. So he was really funny. Paris, she was working on grass. They were all working on the land, filling this crater. Apparently, the night before I joined, that past week, was the beginning, or actually no, it wasn't the beginning. It was part of the thing I would later call the Griefer Wars. What happened was that these three people, first it was two people, came on the server, loaded with TNT, and just went nuts. They blew up houses, they blew up all of Spawn, they blew up every single one of Silver's libraries. Everything was in their reach. If it wasn't secret, it was most likely a crater by the end of it. So after that night, we started the rebuilding program, and we banned these two people, and we started. I'm going to leave out the griefers' usernames because I don't want anything bringing on them at all. Okay, so I'm just gonna leave it out. Anyway, so we started with rebuilding it. We rebuilt the entire lawn, and I said, if you finish this by the end of the week, I'll be able to add this in the club, because what Mrs. Clausman was planning on doing was having a server club. So this club was going to be a summer camp. It was a summer camp club, and it was the first of its kind. They've had summer camps in the past, really tiny ones, like when I first joined Miva back in the summer of 2017, I actually took a small little class about Minecraft, and I didn't know at the time it would actually run by Mrs. Clausman, so we were destined, I guess. It was like how to build a pyramid, and it was like a really cool pyramid, which Cub fans probably has watched, if any of you got that reference. Anyways, so this was the first of its kind. It was a full club during the summer, like weekly. Like weekly, you would go into this Blackboard session and join this club. Anyways, before this happened, I said this week, and then they rebuilt the towers. They rebuilt this really cool mountain base where if you couldn't always be on the server, to send messages to you, people would either write a sign or a book in your own private room, and then you would go into that room like the next day whenever you were on, and then you could read their messages for you, and then you could go into their room and write a message to them, and it was like this really cool way of chatting between players without having them on. It was like really brilliant. And we rebuilt that. We rebuilt the mansion. The mansion was this old, I have photos of it. It was this old, like, mix of had a modern extension, and then it had a rustic feel with, like, oak, and then it had this giant staircase in the front with, like, a big patio on the ground, and then it had, like, 3 floors, had a full-on kitchen, had bedrooms upstairs. It was beautiful, this thing. And as we went on, we fixed up everything we could. I rebuilt all the libraries. Like, Silver went all out. He was writing his own biography. Like, his library had been burned down 3 times, just like Lego. So he had so many libraries. He had the Amethyst. No, that was End. End was Amethyst. I think it was Scarlet. Yeah, Scarlet was Nether. Then it was Snow, Iron, Aqua, a bunch of other colors. I can't remember if he's watching it. He probably knows most of these better than I do. He had his own symbols for all of them. It was amazing. And we rebuilt the whole map. I tried to get as much story of the server. Apparently this guy had built a bunch of stuff and then abandoned it. It was just amazing. I don't know why my memory's so foggy of it, because I always jump to the ending of it, but during this time, during those 2 months, it was amazing. Greg built a house, and there was a tank battle scene, and it was beautiful. And then I was fixing up my room. It was like quartz ceiling. So I finished up that room. That's what I'm going to do next on my creator server. I'm going to rebuild the mansion. Anyway, so I was next on that room, and it was beautiful. And this guy had his room next to me, and I'm not going to say his username, just to be nice. And this guy comes in, and I say hi. I thought he needed some help, because I was the only mod at the time. I hadn't seen Dino on in a while. He didn't join until during the summer, because he was busy too. We were all busy. And what happened was all of a sudden, he was acting so strange. And I later learned that, I think it's a he, later learned that he was planning the entire thing. Like, he was planning on making his mark by destroying the server. And he wanted to make sure I was online because I was the only moderator, which makes sense, because if you want something reported, you do it in front of the moderator. And Mrs. Clausman had been emailing for this entire time. I still have all the emails. I sometimes just read them just to see what happened, because it's like a weird, dramatic story. Like this could become a movie. So anyways, I was in my room. I had the open window trick. Like, I've shown you the open window trick before. Don't worry, I'll give you a tour, a part 2 tour of the intro. I haven't forgot about that, but that'll include that. Anyways, I had the open window trick. And this was in 1.12. This is 2018. And we were planning on doing something big Memorial Day weekend. Like, me, Greg, and Silver are all going to come on, just build. And I'd find out stuff. And I had made the first compass room. That's right. The compass started on this server. That symbol that you always see everywhere, that started on this server. I had it under the silver library, and it was like I had diamond, pink, so I had blue, light blue, pink, green, and light gray. You can tell the colors, everything except for pink was based off the ores, the major ores at the time. We did not have netherite yet, so we just had the major ores. And then pink, so then I had that. It was this really cool compass. And I was in my room, fixing up things, and this guy just starts putting, you won't believe it, you'll laugh. You're gonna laugh when you hear this. He starts putting everywhere in my room, and I start lagging like crazy. He starts putting chickens. 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 Everywhere. Everywhere it goes. My other username that I go by is Rebel Chicken. And this has nothing to do with it. But it's just a little bit funny. But he starts putting chickens everywhere. And I start lagging so crazy that I walk backwards and I go out my window. I don't fall because I'm creative, but pretty much I go out the window. I just go whoosh out the window. And this is where the curse starts. The curse of never having a server last for an entire year. Never. Not once. And this was probably the shortest server. Actually, no. I think the middle server beat that, and so did the third server. So this was, it's kind of funny. Actually, no, the third server lasted 4 months, not 2. So it's still. Anyways, I was brand new to moderating. Didn't know what I was doing. Didn't have commands at the time, so I couldn't do /kill@E, which even though I would have gotten rid of the map, it would have saved the server. So I would have sacrificed that map to save the server. I could have done that, but we couldn't. We didn't have operator powers. That didn't come until another person came along. So it was just chaos. So I run, of course. I always regret this every time I say it. I ran into the nether, kept running into another portal, and made another house. Because I knew that wasn't going to end well. And I was like, okay, so this guy's gonna leave, and I still have this down. And this guy, I was like, this guy's gonna leave, and then I'm gonna run back through the portal and save it. And he left. Never saw him again. Haven't since this day. And then, when I went to the nether portal, you won't believe it. I was frozen. Solid. I was frozen solid. The lag was so bad. It was terrible. It immediately kicked me. Just immediately. Not even time to think. So I joined, kicked, joined, kicked, joined, kicked. So I kept pushing because I was not going to give up. So I kept pushing and I kept moving back into the portal. And I was able to save myself. And I sent a warning sign saying, don't go into spawn, trying to fix it. Huge lag storm. And a lag storm is where there's a machine in the center creating the lag. And as the, whatever it is, at the time it was chickens, as that gets laggier, the area expands. So it's like this big orb. And it expands larger and upwards. It just gets larger and larger until eventually it takes over the server. We never got to that point because that server couldn't handle it. So I kept running back in. I ran around the long way, took my elytra, and just started dive bombing the bomber. It was like this upgraded chicken bomber. Like this was before observers. So this was a redstone contraption floating in the sky, and it was putting chickens everywhere. And I tried saving it. I was on the edge of the storm multiple times, and I tried saving that. I tried saving it so many times. And eventually I got stuck right in the center of that storm. And I eventually got through it, but I want to tell you this. That's when I saw how bad it was. We had a plain, so we had tiny houses, and we had plains. We had just a plains. You could see grass, and we fixed up that whole area with grass in the mansion. It was so bad. So bad that I could barely see the ground. There wasn't green in sight. Like, maybe a tiny bit when I looked down, which took 20 tries after I actually was able to get it looking down. But that's a weird sight. Yeah, that's how bad this was. Yeah, everywhere in sight. Like, I'm talking everywhere. There was white as far as the eye can see. This was before entity cramming. So this was massive. And whenever a chicken was pushed, the chickens would slowly go out. And they would start expanding. This storm started expanding. And I couldn't see the ground. It was so bad. I got out. And I got to Whiplash's Island. And I stood at the edge of the storm. Looked at Old Spawn. I remember it now like it was yesterday. I looked at Old Spawn, where the mansion lay in the town, and I watched as Silver joined, and his sister, and him and her joined for a second, and the next second, they were gone. I watched Greg join. Next second, he was gone. He was helping me pave an area, and he was, even though he wasn't even in the center of it, it was too bad. It was the storm was way too bad. And I emailed Ms. Clausman and told her everything. I tried everything. I tried spawning ocelots, tried breaking that machine. And what happened after that was, since we didn't have commands, we couldn't use kill at E. It's so hard to say this, even though it's only been 3 years. Mrs. Clausman decided that it was time to restart the server completely. So she killed the server completely. That world is now gone forever. We never saved the seed. It's just gone. And after that, we tried fixing things up as much as we could. Not on the server, though. I don't know why I'm tired. Okay. That's probably why I'm so quiet. After that, she started the new server, and I spawned on a spawn island. And I sat there on Spawn Island. And the club started. I built a news board trying to tell everyone, thinking that the server guys would come on because they knew about the club. They didn't. A lot of them didn't. It was very hard to even get the original team but it was 7 months. 7 months, almost 8 months actually, until I saw silver again. Now, of course, now silver's a big part of it, but part of part 2, but he wasn't part of that first club. That first summer camp club, that was the only summer camp club the K-12 has ever run, that was weekly. He wasn't part of it. Everyone was gone. We had a guy named Dino joined, and he built a redstone museum. I gave him a hill. I started building up the compass again. I rebuilt my compass room. Took this huge pit. Started the archive, which is more like a trash bin, because it was just a bunch of stuff leading to this wall of chests. And then I built up the mansion, and it was a city. So the theme for the summer camp was city. We would go out, and everyone would go out, make a districts, and then in each district they would build like the industrial district, the commercial district, the residential district. Like they would build these districts in a theme. And this guy named Cool Time joined. He was really cool. He had a really cool time with him when he was on, before he changed his name. I'm not going to tell you who it is yet, because, trust me, it's a big surprise. And so he went off. He started building his big futuristic builds. Like, these were big circular builds. Like, these were beautiful buildings. Like, if you go to the first video on my channel and you look up briefing on the server. Yes, I know the video quality wasn't that good back then, but just go on that server. You'll see the buildings I'm talking about. Though some of them are bombed, but you will see the buildings I'm talking about in that video. And in the first try of a video. Those two are the only videos we have of that server. Anyways, as the club continued, Lightbulb joined. He built a little area. Cool Time joined. He built a little area. I built a giant mine in the cube, like a special cube, like with end portals on top and a nether around. It was really cool. I built a transportation station wherever you would go in there, and I would add command blocks, and you just push a button and it would immediately go there. Dino started on his castle. He completely redid the interior of a ocean monument. He built this giant castle building. It was beautiful, this beautiful building of his, a big castle. He built statues in there later. I messed with structure blocks, and a lot of it's actually saved. Like, look, here, I'll save the quick title. This one. It's this one. I know what I'm doing. I'm just leaving for the creative for a second. Yeah, it's this one. This, if you look behind me, is some of the original structural block saves. This was the map in the basement of my library. This was his sound. This was Cool's sound maker. Eventually, Cool and somebody else was talking, and they decided, you know what? Oh, this was one of Lightbulb's houses over here. You know what? I'm gonna change my name. And he had this old YouTube channel he hadn't been using for a while. And he decided to name it after his YouTube channel. So he changed his name to Taco, or Mr. McTaco, as he liked to be called. And this was TNT stuff, but I won't go into it. This was Trennan's Redstone Library. These buildings was Trennan Redstone Library. This was on the hill. This is the Black Pearl that was in front of Trennan's kingdom. A lot of this was not yet in the story. This will be in part 2. Oh, this was my second house. This was actually in the story. This was my second house. This was built. Oh, I can't remember when. When did I build this? I built this. I think I built this during. Yeah, I built this during the clubs. So we had our clubs, and they started building this world. Eventually, we had a showcase that was amazing. We had this big old showcase. And during this showcase, we'd show off our builds. Yeah, so by the way, Cool Time was Mr. Taco the entire time. Just saying. Anyway, so he eventually emailed Ms. Clausman. These are all the builds, by the way. There's a diorama of us. I think we still have our names in here. Yeah, me and Evan did it. See? Star Otter, Silver Fox, Greg Montano, Opidus, Dragon Gaming was part of it. Whiplash, Nori Ness. This was Evan's. This was on the Evan. I'm saying the wrong name. This was Mr. Taco's sister over here. This was Nori Ness. He built this big old cool mountain village. This was Ms. Clausman. Not going to show the... I don't think we have... Yeah, we don't have the name of this guy. This is the original server griefer, by the way. I don't think his head is... Oh, no. You didn't see anything. I want to reload that because I actually really want that. There we go. I'm not going to grab the heads because I don't want you guys to know that. Anyways, that was, there's Lightbulb here. Berkey, you might know. Nugget, we got Berkey back. Berkey's been back for a while. Here's me. Yeah, this is my original skin. I wonder if it'll... No, it won't change. Yeah, this is my original skin. This is what I originally looked like. Oh, I have like a big blue shirt on, I think. This is this is Dino. Sorry, I keep saying the wrong names. This was Mr. McTaco, aka Cool Time. That was his original name. This was what he was wearing at the time. Get it? It's alright. I'll stop with the dad jokes. This is the detective. This was later. This is part of a whole different later thing. But anyways, so yeah, Trennan built these ships, and there are beautiful ships. This was part of the original. This was part of the original hub. So you go in here. And these are all the areas. We had the Evergreen Library, the Silver Library, Desert Temple. All of these, we just push a button and it bring you there. It was amazing. It was like one of the probably the best. It was the best. It was the... There's part of Dino's Castle. I went in alphabetical order, so some of these are from newer parts. So you might not... They're not part of the story yet. But yeah, this was a, like, that's part of his kingdom, that's part of Trennan's kingdom, and eventually Lightbulb won this showcase, and it was just amazing. This is part of our old server. We had an old server abandoned area under Trennan's area. You know what, I'm just gonna finish the creative server story. I'm gonna do a part 2 when I reach the next year. No, yeah. So I'm going to go over that again for him. But yeah, this was part of the... so a lot of this is part of the old server. This was the map. Like, I had maps. We had coordinates that was all done by Taco. We had the Black Pearl. This is the Iron Pearl. There's the Black Pearl. There's my original house. This was Dr. TNT's... he's not in the photo yet. That's right. I can't talk about him yet. Because he's not part of it yet. This is another thing I built. So anyways, before I show off too much, because I can't show off a ton, because I don't want to spoil anything, like where that road is from, because I can't tell you that yet. Anyways, you can watch that part again if you want to go back to that. Anyways, so... yeah, we had that server. It was going amazing. We didn't think anything could happen. We were giving a ton of people over commands. It was going great. And sadly, because I haven't talked to this part about Alfredo yet, sadly, I can't tell you the rest. Not yet. I will, but I can't yet. So that means part 2. Ooh. Dang it, I don't know what I just did, but I don't want to do it again. Anyways, so, that means part 2. I'm going to have to do a cliffhanger. I'm sorry, guys. As you can tell, my voice is starting to get a little raw, too. It was probably It was the best summer camp I've ever done. I would love if K-12 ever did that again, but I'll tell you why. A lot of things happened last year that I might have to leave some stuff out of the second part, the end of the second part, because it was very complicated, and, well, it was probably too complicated for a Minecraft server. I'm just gonna say that. And, yeah, I can't talk anymore. I'm gonna tell you the rest of the creative server story, and then, subsequently, the ending, why you'll probably, by the end of this, you'll understand why Dust in the Wind makes me cry every time, because it just does. Dust in the Wind by Kansas. If any of you don't know what that is, just look that up. Look up Dust in the Wind by Kansas, and you'll understand. And so yeah, I'll have to tell you this, guys, later. It's 36 minutes already. I can't tell you anymore. Lightbulb event. By the way, about that showcase, Lightbulb eventually won. If you look up, I think if you look up Mr. McTaco, I think it's on him somewhere. It might be. It's either on him or it's on Mrs. Cosman's channel. Either way, Mr. McTaco did a tour of the entire server at the time for the showcase. And that was probably the best thing. I built a big church. I built a stadium. I built a theater. We built so much. I can't tell you the next part, which is the new central city, which we came up with in the next club. And I'll tell you how that all happened. But as of right now in the story, there are 3 moderators. Me, Taco, because Taco eventually got in after he emailed Ms. Cosman, and Dino. Those are the only 3 as of right now. Cole has not joined yet. TNT has not joined yet. Silver has not rejoined yet. I didn't know if I was ever going to see Silver again. So yeah. I'll talk to you guys later. I'm sorry to leave you on a cliffhanger, but I'm Scruffy Bandit. This has been part 1 of the Server Chronicles, which is only just still continuing because of MevaCraft. MevaCraft is still part of this. This is still going on. We're going to beat that curse. We're going to make this server last more than a year. I promise that. I'm graduating next year, so that means I need this. I need to have 1 server last. But anyways, I'll talk about that more later. This has been Scruffy Bandit. Hope you guys all have a well day. I'm signing off. Carpe diem.